Why don't we talk about Gamera next? Gamera, and James, you're working on that one, right?
That one has been my one of my kind of big babies. That's an unfortunate phrase, but anyway, that's been one of my kind of big projects for like the last year and a bit. So I before I'd started this, I'd never seen a Gamera movie. To be honest, I was a newcomer to the whole series. But the way I know Ewan's the same. The way I like to work on these things is to really kind of do my research and do a deep dive into, you know, what this is and what the opportunities are in terms of what you can do with it, because it's a series that's had some releases before that kind of by Mill Creek that were kind of slightly cheaper releases with not so many extras and things like that. But if we're going to do an Arrow release, it's got to be, like Ewan said, it's got to be the definitive one. It's got to be the one that draws a line under everything else and like leaves no one wanting for more. So a few things kind of happened kind of soon after I started. One was that I got in touch with a artist from Texas called Matt Frank, who is well known to kaiju fans for doing artwork for Godzilla comics, and he's well known in kind of the kaiju fan community. And he was right away super enthusiastic about not only doing everything that we needed for the project, but also helping us out in terms of getting people on board and contributing content. He's even done a commentary on one of the films on the set. And I have here, well, we've got an exploded pack shot that we're going to show in a minute. But I'm just going to show as well, I have a physical, this is a copy of the box that I got. So this isn't the finished article. We're still in production on the disc, but we've got a copy of the actual box, which was delivered to my home, which shows you all 12 of the films that are going to be on it.
Wow.
And
that is properly large for a kaiju movie.
This is, yeah, exactly. Well, this is because Criterion came out with their Godzilla set last year, which I don't know if you guys saw that. That's even bigger than that. It's like this big book thing, and we didn't want to go quite that big, but we thought go big or go home. So this is kind of cereal box size. So for those of you who had our Herschel Gordon Lewis box set, or if you have slightly classier tastes and you have the Criterion Bergman box set, it's a similar kind of size to that.
The shade.
But it's got all kinds of, in addition to like extras, stuffed additions to the 12 films, it also comes with a 130-page comic book that's a reprint of kind of comics from Gamera comics from the mid-90s that have been out of print for years. That came out via Dark Horse Comics years ago. 80-page book of essays, and we're going to be announcing full specs in terms of what's on the discs very soon. But I don't think many fans will be disappointed in terms of what we've put together. It's been a long old slog getting everything together, but worth the wait for everyone, I think.
John Cohorn says, "Whoa," and that's
whoa.
That is the proper response.
Well, shall we help John do a double whoa? Let's see some of the other artwork that's in the set. So I don't know if you guys can see this. Hang on. So this is some of Matt's artwork that's in the disc book, which is where the discs are going to be housed in. So he's done illustrations for each of the monsters. So every time you want to get a disc out, you've got illustrations for each of the monsters. So it's
I think John just passed out.
The right response. That's what we wanted to see.
So while we're talking about that, I've been encouraging everyone to leave questions in the comment section for you guys. You guys are set in advance. You're more than willing to answer any questions anybody has. So I want to say that live here as well. Do we want to go ahead and show the premiere of the exploded pack art?
Let's do it. Blow it up,
we need sound effects.
Do it.
Sing the song, James. Come on.
Yeah, James is supposed to be doing the Gamera Raw, whatever you call it. So you could
God. Once more.
You can do better than that.
Yeah, that'll do. So look at it. This is the first site that some people will see of the exploded pack shot that'll go with the announcement. So you see at the top there, we have Gamera's map of Japan, where you can track all of his trail of destruction throughout the country in each of the 12 films. You've got the postcards that come with it, which have Matt's incredible artwork for the films. There's 3 books here. The one that's open is the disc book that I just showed you guys a minute ago, but there's also the comic book and the book of essays as well. So visually, it just looks incredible. And I really can't wait for people to get their hands on it and just see all the hard work that Matt's done on it over the last year. He's, like I said, he's done a commentary on the film Gamera, the Guardian of the Universe, which it's his first commentary, and he's done an amazing job on it. So it's, well worth all the hard work, and it'll be worth the wait for everyone, I think.
Everybody loves the gigantic fire-breathing turtle, and I want to see this, please. I'm ready for it.
That's impressive. Let's see. Let me take this down. I'm producing and hosting, guys. So
he's a man of many talents, that Lloyd Cryer.
So,
who was the artist again, James?
A talented young man from Austin, Texas, called Matt Frank, who fans of Godzilla comics will know from his work on Nose, and he's just like a more knowledgeable kind of fan of the kaiju genre. We couldn't have been luckier to kind of fall into bed with on this, because his Rolodex of contacts of people to do commentaries and other things is just off the charts. And he's whenever we were stuck for who should we get to do this, he would recommend someone and they'd be perfect. So very, very happy to have worked with Matt on this, and we'll hopefully be working with him again on something else in the not too distant future. So
did he do everything, including the inner art and?
Yeah, all of it, the outer, the inner art. He's even the comic book that's in here. Like I said, there's a reprint of a Gamera comic. So this is just the inner pages that I've got of the comic book. So most of this is a reprint of a 4-issue Gamera comic that was released by Dark Horse Comics in the mid-1990s. So this is the book is mostly a reprint of that, but it also has a prequel comic that's about 15-20 pages long that explains the origin of Gamera. That's only ever been published in Japanese. It's never been published in English before. That is by Matt Frank. So I can't really show it here, but anyway, there's some of the pages of that there, but it's really cool. And I think I know Gamera fans have been waiting to read it in English for a long, long time, and that's they'll hopefully, again, it'll be worth the wait for them.
Yeah, that hasn't had a proper release that it deserved. I know. I'm trying to remember the name of the company that released it before. I think they're in Oklahoma, but they put out some Gamera films in the past, and they just weren't up to snuff. So, kudos on that.
Who was it? It was Mill Creek did the last bunch of Blu-rays, and Shout Factory did DVDs before that, which they did the best they could with. Someone's playing a noise.
There we go.
Well done.
Good job, Charles.
That sounds about right.
Sorry, I feel like we needed that right now.
That was exactly what I was doing. What you guys didn't, I thought I was being uncanny. Anyway, so yeah, it's been a big project, much bigger than I thought it was going to be when we started, and it's grown out of all proportion, just appropriately so for a big kaiju monster. But it's it's going to be worth the wait.
Someone has a question. Does this set include black and white movies?
The answer to that question is that the first Gamera film was shot in black and white, and then all the rest were in color. So it's just the first disc of the set that has the first film in black and white. Actually, it's 2 different versions of the film. So there's the original Japanese version, and then for the first time on Blu-ray, there's the American version of the first film that has a whole bunch of new scenes with American actors reacting to Gamera and saying, "What the hell's going on over there in Japan?" So that's never been on Blu-ray before. It's called Gamera the Invincible. So that's another reason to buy it, even if you have the films already.
Awesome.
I feel like you guys should have re-recorded those scenes as yourself and put them in there. That would have been hilarious.
We debated it. It nearly happened, and maybe next time.
It certainly looks impressive. John Cohorn says the set looks fantastic. That one in Criterion's Godzilla box. May have to battle it out on top of my shelves. Who's Criterion?
Thank you very much, John.
Never heard of that. We never heard of that before.
No.
All right. I'm looking for other questions. Do you guys have anything you want to talk about on the Gamera set?
What more?
It's only taken you a year so far, hasn't it?
It didn't take him that long.
Like I said,
just a couple of years.
Like I said, I know lots of people have been waiting for a an announcement of what's going to be on the discs in terms of extras and especially what English dub tracks are going to be with the films. So we'll have an announcement on that very soon. But just to answer those questions very briefly, everything that's been on the previous American editions and more in terms of extras, and in terms of the dubs, all of them. And I mean literally all of them. So no stone has been left unturned, and fans should be very, very happy when they see it.
That's great.
Thank you guys so much.
Can I ask a question?
Sure. Go on.
What's been the most, because one of the great joys for me with this kind of set is that I haven't had any involvement in it whatsoever. So I don't know the movies at all. And I get to just enjoy the fruits of someone else's labor and enjoy it as a fan. So I'm really looking forward to that. But what, on a kind of production perspective, what's been the most challenging aspect of that box set?
Oh, God. Well, I mean, it's just, two things, really. One was just trying to get my head around it at the beginning. So, I mean, the research part of it, which is, I'm sure it's the same for you, and when it's a title that you don't know very well, it's just getting your head around what's, even trying to remember what the films are called in the first place. Like, now I can recite them all in chronological order really, really easily. But at the time, trying to figure out what are these 12 weird films, and what are the best copies of them, and where do we get materials that are the best quality, and that kind of thing is really challenging when you've got a big project like that at the start. And once you get your head around that, I guess it's just trying to kind of get your heads around people's expectations as well. So I mean, fortunately in this case there are dedicated message boards where people talk about very vocally what their expectations are and what they want to see in the box set. So in a way, it's kind of a cheat sheet for you, because you can then be like, sure, okay, we'll just try and get that. We can't get that, but that's fine. We can't get everything. Although we often try to get everything. But so that is kind of the challenge, I guess, to kind of to get your head around everything, and B, to kind of try and meet everyone's expectations, I suppose. But like I said, fingers crossed, fans should be very happy with what we put together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it looks amazing. So, yeah.
Thanks.
Can we get Louise to do a Gamera roar? I see her down there. I want to hear
me?
Yeah.
I can't do it as good as James. He is the OG of Gamera roars. I'm not even going to compete.
I don't want to embarrass Louise, but we've got a comment here.
Oh, gosh.
Louise Buckler is smoking hot.
Thanks,
Greg. Are you embarrassed?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm glad it's quite dark in here because you can't see me blushing.
The last question that I had up there was, when's the release date?
Gamera's the end of July. Shame on me, I cannot remember the exact date, but it's towards the end of July. So hopefully there'll be no delays and we can stick to that. But that's what it's down for at the moment. In fact, what am I doing? I can just look at arrowfilms.com while you're all distracted. Can
we go to arrowvideo.com? Is it on there yet? Or
yeah. So if you go to arrowfilms.com or .co.uk, it'll tell you when to do the 28th of July. Yes.
28th of July.
Damn it, you took the words right in my mouth.
July 28th. Perfect.
Yeah.
The internet knows all.
Yes, it does. God bless it.
Except what we've got coming out later in the year.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I'm super excited about that. Any plans for any other kaiju after this, or are we looking too far into the future?
Nothing specific in terms of Japanese stuff. We've got some other old tokusatsu or sort of special effects Japanese stuff coming up, which is kind of from the same deal, and that Gamera fans will probably be interested in as well. But in terms of other kaiju movies, nothing in the pipeline just yet. But if this goes well, then fingers crossed we'll do more. So, fingers crossed, absolutely.
I think
giant monster movies from America, maybe, but from Japan, not so much yet.
Gotcha. Well, hopefully everybody supports this one. It looks like a stellar release.
Yeah, I agree. It's beautiful, beautiful artwork, beautiful box set. Everybody, check that one out.
Definitely. So.